Oh, Birbalsingh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this one is wild. That's
Okay.
absolutely wild. It just shows you like what it is you're allowed to do as long as you enter like the inner ring. You remember this person was promoted by Boris Johnson, no less, to be the government's social mobility czar.
Britain's strictest head teacher taken to the High Court over school's Muslim prayer ban. Brilliant.
It's getting very Marine Le Pen, isn't it?
It is a little. Britain's strictest head teacher is in a row with Muslim pupils over a decision to impose a quote-unquote prayer ban. Michaela Community School in Brent, northwest London, which is run by Katharine Birbalsingh, the government's former social mobility czar, is facing a High Court challenge from a Muslim pupil over its prayer policy. The court heard that the school has faced an online campaign over its approach to religion, as well as threats of violence, abuse, and false allegations of Islamophobia.
False allegations? These seems like very well-founded allegations of Islamophobia, to be honest. If they're being taken to the High Court over a ban on prayers for Muslims, I don't know, that sounds Islamophobic to me.
Yeah, but it's very much you call everything Islamophobic just because I'm literally trying to ban Muslims. Jesus. Conservative MPs are understood to be concerned about the challenge to the governing body of the free school, which achieves some of the best academic results in the country. It's clearly being weaponized, really. A source close to evil bitch Suella Braverman, I've editorialized there, the former Home Secretary told The Telegraph, quote, "It is deeply concerning that the school is being taken to court over this clearly legitimate policy." Time out. Clearly legitimate? Is it clearly legitimate? Because
we shall find out. Again, yeah, exactly. Like we shall see whether it's legitimate or not when the court comes back with their ruling on this.
It's clearly being weaponized against Michaela, which is a brilliant school doing a brilliant job for its pupils with a fantastic headmistress. A High Court hearing in London on Tuesday was told that the school stance on prayers was first introduced in March last year by its head teacher and later remade by its governing body in May.
So the fish does rot from the head then. Not just her, it's all of the sycophants in the governing body as well.
Yeah. About 30 students began praying in the school's wet and dirty yard in last year, using blazers to kneel as they were not permitted to bring in prayer mats. The court. Hang on. What possible infringement on learning is a prayer mat? The existence of them bringing in a prayer mat. How does that stop the functioning of a school?
It's woke. It's too much woke. The woke prayer mats.
Okay, fair enough. Just say woke.
Say woke. Again, like it doesn't make. It's a completely nonsensical word. So I'm just going to say, if anything, like the monarchy is woke. Like taxes on working people are woke. Business deregulation is woke. Anything can be woke.
Yeah. Lawyers for the school, which is opposing the legal challenge, had argued that proceedings should be held in private owing to concerns over past harassment, which include threats of a bomb hoax. Hang on, what about the free marketplace of ideas, Birbalsingh? What? I thought you were all about the freedoms of the peaches.
But also,
what do you want?
Yeah, and so the argument here, if I'm reading this correctly, if I'm getting the right vibes from this, is the argument they're making is that we had to make sure that all the Muslims do all their praying out of sight, out of mind, because of what other kids would do to them if they saw them praying, rather than reprimanding the kids who do the harassment. They're gonna make all of the Muslims go and do it in solitary.
Yeah, exactly. We were perfectly fine with them bullying Muslims. It's just the Muslims existing as Muslims and doing Muslim stuff that we had a problem with. It's apparently school policy. Cool. But following arguments by media organisations, Mr. Justice Linden ruled that the hearing should be held in public and the school and head teacher can be identified. Sarah Hannett Casey, representing the Muslim pupil, told the court that the prayer policy had the, quote, practical effect of only preventing Muslims from praying because their prayer by nature has a ritualized nature rather than being internal, unquote. The pupil, who cannot be named, claims the decisions banning prayer rituals breaches her right to freedom of religion. which does definitely appear to be the case. Yeah.
I mean, I can understand if the court would rule that way. I'll put it that way, because again, I'm not a legal expert on this. But if it's been taken to the High Court, then there must be at least some grounding to what Miss Hannett is saying here.
Yeah. Banning them bringing prayer mats, like prayer mats are a problem. I don't know how that could possibly be.
It does seem to be a measure that you would only take were it be specifically Muslims that you're wanting to ensure couldn't do their prayer. Like, you can't get to this position. Like, what other potential, again, as you've put it before, impediment to people's learning would the presence of a prayer mat have to justify you banning that kind of thing specifically, unless you were deliberately trying to target Muslims? Again, obviously, I can't look into Miss Birbalsingh's head and the governing body's head. I can't intuit, whilst looking at their things specifically, their own personal motivations behind this. But the only reasonable explanation that makes sense to me personally is that they just wanted to make sure that the Muslims got banned specifically.
Yeah. Miss Hannett said the ban on the school, where about half of the roughly 700 students are Muslim, makes the pupils feel guilty and unhappy, in her words, and it messes up her day. So half of the kids are Muslims. If you hate Muslims that much, why did you become a head teacher of a half-Muslim school?
It's silly, isn't it? Very silly.
It's very, very odd. Jason Koppel, Casey, representing the school trust, said pupils seen praying outside contributed to a, quote, concerted campaign on social media over the school's approach to religion, including a since-removed online petition attracting thousands of signatures.
There's form then. There's form here for the level of animosity between teachers, parents, and pupils and the community at large. I mean, it's almost like they were trying to do this because they wanted the negative publicity, because they are people who want to grift towards a culture war. Weird that.
Yeah. Whilst also alienating half of their school community.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just excellent work. Well done. Police were called... police were called to respond to claims of bombs being placed at the school, prompting it to hire a security guard and close 2 days early at the end of term. Very normal, very sensible, very successful school. Awesome. Glass bottles were thrown over the school railings and a brick thrown through one of the teachers' windows, leaving staff fearing for their lives, Mr. Koppel said, adding that the situation had since calmed.
Okay, I will condemn threats and acts of violence, of course. No one is saying that those things are good.
Fuck libcock. Unbelievable.
This is some lib bullshit, right? But whatever. Regardless, again, this case isn't about the issue of what people are doing in response. This case is specifically an issue of the kind of very specific banning of only a certain religious subset of abilities to actually engage in prayer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So are you being discriminatory towards a certain religious group?
Yeah, this is specifically targeted. It's not a blanket. I mean, it's a blanket policy. It's like saying, well, we're not homophobic because gay people have just the right to marry somebody of the opposite sex as straight people do. I'm like, well, I mean, that's technically correct, but it's not, in utility, that's not correct.
Mr. Justice Linden noted the school had received, quote, disgraceful abuse, but concluded, quote, I do not accept that the evidence in this case establishes a risk to the lives or safety of members of the school, staff, or the school community that would justify holding the hearing in private. Ms. Birbalsingh has received criticism for her outspoken views on education, despite her school's results.
I mean, I think she's received criticism for more than her views on education. I think.
What has she received criticism for? What are those things? What has she been criticised for? Mr. Koppel is due to set the school's defence to the case on Wednesday, when the hearing is expected to conclude. So yeah, that is that will be interesting to see. It's good that you're getting some pushback, because of course when you do this kind of discriminatory shit based on culture war nonsense, some of it will be illegal. It's not just woke; it's basically anti-human. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is.
So I'll be interested to see where that goes.
But it should be nice to watch her lose.
Yeah, I imagine so, because I mean, if it has been outlined, and of course this is from the Telegraph, so who the knows? But if what appears to be the case is true, then yeah, I could understand the judge ruling against her, because it does seem pretty obviously nakedly discriminatory. But I don't know. I don't
I
know.
mean,
The
they might
courts
be
are
able to
weird.
somehow cobble together some defense that they were doing a blanket ban on all things for any religion that does this. It just happens to be Muslims and only Muslims that get affected by this blanket ban for everybody. We didn't even say anything about Muslims in the ban. It was just specifically prayer mats.
Well,
Like,
I'm against all forms of crosses, not because of the crucifix thing. I just don't like two lines intersecting. So I'm going to ban
exactly.
all of them. And the fact that that may or may not only affect a certain religious grouping is neither here nor there. Okay, I
Mm,
just don't like two intersecting lines. Case closed. Not
exactly.
discriminatory.
Exactly. Literally, this person was a social mobility czar for the government. She was in charge of, I guess not on a gigantic department, but she had certainly had a role in terms of quote unquote social mobility, which I don't think you can achieve by being explicitly discriminatory. Oh, yes, sorry, implicitly discriminatory to a certain very specific religion, especially one that's under a lot of discrimination currently.
Yeah, it's the one of the ones you can generally tend to get away with, but we do have laws on the books that mean you can't discriminate that blatantly. Usually,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.